Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well. And today we'll be talking about a rumor that supposedly Jar Jar Binks is set to possibly appear in the upcoming Obi Wan Kenobi series on Disney+. Now, we have a lot of thoughts on Jar Jar Binks. There were a lot of us that were very critical of the character, being quite silly, just being kind of a worthless character altogether. And that was not a shot at Ahmed Best, who really did portray the character as best he could. And Ahmed Best, to me, has really proven himself to be someone that understands fandom. The fact that he continues to come and support fans, that's the reason why he actually went to Star Wars Celebration and got rave clapping and applause and praise, because it's obviously was not on him for the reason why he got the lines and the character arc that he did. I mean, he did the very best that he could. And obviously, I think a lot of us can say that Jar Jar Binks has a special place in a lot of our hearts. I know that one of my favorite conspiracy theories that has been around since the last, 10 years or so, or ever since really this film came out was, or rather, since the sequel trilogy was being announced, was, oh my goodness, I cannot wait for the reveal of Darth Jar Jar. That Jar Jar was the one behind it all, that he was the Sith Lord in disguise this entire time, because, dear Lord, that just would have been amazing for so many different reasons. But I actually have a problem with this rumor. And again, this is a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. This is coming from our boys John F. Trent over at Bounding Into Comics, covering this story from Making Star Wars. And so this is coming from Jason Ward, who has had some pretty decent leaks in the past. So he does have a decent track record, again, hit and miss type of stuff. So if you want to accept it, you can accept it. If not, then obviously you can just ignore it. But the reason why I honestly think that this is true is because Disney has shown itself, especially with this last film, Episode 9, with all of their announcements about the upcoming stuff, they do not want to leave the Skywalker franchise behind. They might have tried to hype up in their promos, in their promotional materials, in their marketing, that Episode 9 was going to be the end of the Skywalker saga, but they are by no means done with the Skywalkers. We already have the rumors going around that they are likely going to cast a younger Luke Skywalker, and that there's going to be an interaction between Obi Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker. And it makes a lot of sense why they would be either leaking these rumors or why they would be going in this direction, and it's because they realize that their money is in the past. Their money is in the source material, which up to this point they've pretty much either ignored or just flat out destroyed, which is the reason why they've lost so much of the hardcore fan base that the last film in their franchise, Episode 9, is now likely going to be coming in under even Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which, again, that's not a knock at Rogue One, a Star Wars story. That was a one-off movie that was very successful, made over $1 billion. But the fact that the 9th film in an arc, or a supposed arc, that has been, pushed forward by Disney as, oh yeah, these are all part of the canon, and this is all part of the Disney Star Wars experience, and it's all a part of the 9-film saga, even though most of us fans say, no, there's a 6-film arc, there's a 6-film canon, and these 3 films that you have given us have just crapped all over canon, so therefore we refuse to accept it as canon. We will go with the head canon instead. We will go ahead and rather believe or follow or read or look into further the EU stuff, the legend stuff as you've categorized it, the stuff that you said, oh, that's not canon anymore. The stuff that you completely ignored, Kathleen Kennedy, when you said, wait, what source material? We didn't have any source material. We had no stories to go off of. So give us a break, okay? The reason why these weren't as great as they could have been is because you overhyped them. You overhyped them. You thought that they were going to be too great. Yes, probably because we had read a lot of the EU stuff, or again, I was late to the game when it came to the EU, but we had seen the EU stuff. Many fans had been reading it for such a long time, and they thought, dear Lord, you got the Thrawn trilogy. You've got literally you've got the story of Darth Bane. You've got the story of Pelagus. There are so many things, so many directions that they could have gone in. But instead, what did they do? They said, okay, let's throw in Harrison Ford. Let's throw in Mark Hamill. Let's throw in Carrie Fisher. Try and get the fans back. But we're going to crap all over them in the process, too, because it's time now for Star Wars for a new generation. The problem is that in order to do that correctly, you need to be able to pay respect to what came before being able to move forward. And as we can all tell, they did not pay respect to the original trilogy. They did not pay respect, seeing that they stepped and stampeded all over canon. So the The reason why they're throwing out this stuff, and the reason why Jar Jar Binks very likely might come back in an Obi Wan Kenobi series, which again, if Ahmed Best gets work for that, it's one of those things where it's both a good and bad, because I like Ahmed Best. He seems like a genuinely good person, and so I would love for that guy to be involved in the Star Wars universe, but I'm also going to be upset by that because this just goes to show you that they've realized and that they've acknowledged they messed up without actually saying so, without them actually saying, yes, our trilogy sucked. Our trilogy was terrible. Our trilogy destroyed canon. Our trilogy really should have been thought out better. And the best way, of course, they could do that would be firing people like Kathleen Kennedy, or at least making it very clear Rian Johnson's not going to go anywhere near a Star Wars movie in the future. But instead, what do? They say, oh, let's make excuses. Let's blame Russian bots. Let's blame the toxic fandom. Let's bring up this and that. And at the same time, let's continue to try and bankroll the past, bankroll nostalgia, because people are going to say, Jar Jar Binks, I would love to see him back in. Ewan McGregor as Obi Wan Kenobi, I want to see that. Really, the only new stuff that they've had is The Mandalorian, but even The Mandalorian is, of course, set within the same Star Wars universe and was a mediocre show at best. Let's just, again, be honest. I know some people don't like when we say that, but if we did not have the current state of the Star Wars movies, would you honestly be able to look at the Mandalorian series and say that was an excellent series? Every single episode? No, you wouldn't. You'd say, hey, there were 3 or 4 really good episodes, a couple of episodes that really weren't that great, and then a couple of episodes that were somewhat in between. Meaning, guess what? When you add all those things together and divide, it's a mediocre show. It's a fine show. It's a fine start that I really hope that they pick up and do a lot more with in season 2, because I think there's a lot of potential there. You have really great people like Deborah Chow, who is going to be in charge of this Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So there's a lot of potential there. But all this goes to show us is that they do not care about creating new Star Wars stories because they don't know how. They tried to with the sequel trilogy. They tried to with their Disney trilogy, and they ultimately failed. So this kind of news with Jar Jar Binks being brought into the universe, it might excite some people because they're like, hey, Jar Jar Binks is coming back. I like Ahmed Best. And obviously, I have that positive thought because of Ahmed Best, if he is involved. Again, this is a rumor that the character is involved, let alone we have no idea, seeing that this is just a rumor, whether Ahmed Best would come to reprise this role or not. Though, knowing Lucasfilm, they'd probably pay him a pretty penny to actually come back and do the voice work for it. But even with all that being said, this is what the future of Star Wars is. Hey, we don't have any original ideas. Hey, we dropped the ball, and so now we're just going to try and hit nostalgia to bring you guys back. We're going to put a rumor out there that the next series of film is going to be during the High Republic era. Maybe we'll bring in some of your EU people. Maybe we'll finally bring back into the official canon, or rather make official canon characters that you've wanted for a long time. They're all cheap tricks. It's cheap tricks being done because they're trying to save face, because they have a movie on their hands that, yeah, it's not losing money at the box office, but it has had the biggest drop-off from its opening weekend out of any Star Wars movie in history. That's something that you can't cover. That's something that you can't not make. That's something that you just cannot ignore and sweep under the rug. You've pissed off the fan base. The Phantom Menace has shown very clearly the power that we have. Because guess what? Hashtag Solo lost money, and now Star Wars Rise of Skywalker is barely going to beat, if even going to beat, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. And with that even being the case, you could have a situation where a movie like Joker, which costs significantly less money, could end up being the higher grossing film of 2019. Now, of course, we still have a long ways to go before we can actually say that. But based on the fact that you're running out of ideas, and based on the fact that your box office numbers are coming in half of what previous films had done previously, again, we have the Friday numbers coming in around $3 million. Guess what? Rogue One, at the same time in its history, made over $6 million. And so did The Last Jedi. So the drop-off continues. 1917 seems to be doing pretty well at the box office so far. We'll have to wait and see when we have the estimates coming in tomorrow, and I'll cover that over on the Geeks and Gamers channel. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that Jar Jar Binks coming back is a good thing? Honestly, it's just a reminder to me. Again, despite my feelings on Jar Jar Binks, despite my feelings on Ahmed Best, all I can see from this is they are trying to continue to make money off of nostalgia when they had the best chance to do that. They literally had a gold mine in their hands. They had a gold mine in their hands. Gold mine in their hands with that sequel trilogy when they started it off. They could have made bank off of every single film. They could have made the fans happy and extended out to the normie audience. But instead, they saw the forest for the trees. They decided to go off and say, screw you, we don't need the fans anymore because we're Disney. We can just smack the Disney label on anything and it'll be a success and it'll make money. Not realizing the impact that that's going to have on the IP overall and on the fandom overall. So yeah, please go ahead, put Jar Jar Binks in there. Go ahead and bring us Obi Wan Kenobi, which is a thing that we've been wanting for a long time. Go ahead and do all these things to please the fans. But if you think that this is going to make us forget about the nonsense that you've been pulling since 2014, 2015, you're out of your damn mind. But anyway, let me know thoughts about this. Let me know your thoughts on Jar Jar Binks. Do you think this is true? And if this does happen, is this going to make you want to watch the Obi Wan Kenobi series more? Or do you kind of like me think, oh, great, so now Disney's just going to throw more original characters, of the characters that are actually left, into this series and recasting Luke Skywalker to try and show you that, yeah, the Skywalker saga technically is over, but guess what? We can't let it go. You say that we can't let things, you say we can't let go of the past. It sounds like you understand that you can't let go of it either, because once you do, seeing that you've left the fans in the dust, then anything you make forward will just make and lose money. Rather, just lose money. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash the like button, give me a subscribe, it helps me a lot. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.